What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. You know it's a good day when I have some new Dior to review for you all. Dior just reformulated their Dior Addict Lip Maximizer Plumping glosses. I love these glosses, and I know a lot of you all do as well. So naturally, I thought, why did they do this? What is different about these glosses? Do I need to buy these glosses if I already have some or if I've never purchased them before? So that is exactly what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be reviewing the new glosses for you guys, but I'm also going to be doing a little bit of a comparison so you guys can understand the differences, what is new about these, and most importantly, do you really want to spend $40 on one of these lip glosses? So if you guys are interested in hearing all of my completely honest thoughts, then keep watching. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Sophia, and this is my channel that is focused on all things beauty and luxury. Every single week I upload new content on new beauty releases like this one, but I also do favorites videos, tag videos. I do a little bit of luxury fashion, luxury lifestyle. Some of my favorite brands to talk about are Dior, but also Chanel, Tom Ford, Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, Sephora brand. So if that sounds of interest to you, then you're in the right place, my friend. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam because we have so much fun on this channel, and you can also click the notification bell to hear about every time I upload a new video. My Dior lovers out there, don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to be linking everything about these lip glosses in the description box down below, along with everything that is on my face today, so that you guys know where you can find these, where they will be available. All that information will be listed in that description box down below. Okay, party people, let's get into this review because I know you're dying to know what makes these new glosses different. For the purposes of this review and demonstrating what I want to show you all today, I have two shades of the original Lip Maximizer formula, and then I have one of the shades of the new formula. If you are not familiar with the original formula, by the way, this is a really nice, like, classic lip gloss from Dior. It comes in beautiful packaging. And what makes this special, or what makes it, you know, different from a regular gloss, is that this is a plumping formula. So it's infused with hyaluronic acid to plump up the lips. I think a lot of people like this because it doesn't burn as much as maybe like the Too Faced lip injection. It's a little bit more elegant. They have really beautiful shades. Some of them are glittery and sparkly and holographic. Some of them are not sparkly at all. If you go on the Dior website right now, they have 10 shades that are still available. So I don't know, they're still available on the Dior website, but they are slowly going to be rolling out this new formula. I want to read a little bit about this new formula from the Sephora website. The iconic Dior Addict Lip Maximizer Plumping Gloss gets a refresh with new 90% natural origin formula, a reimagined case, and updated shades. It also says, composed of 90% natural origin ingredients and infused with cherry oil and hyaluronic acid, this Dior Plumping Gloss smooths and makes lips look bigger, leaving them hydrated for up to 24 hours. Now available in a new range of shiny shades with clear, intense, shimmering, and holographic finishes. There's also a list here that you can view on Sephora. I will link all of this down below about all of the ingredients that are not in these glosses. So it has, for example, like free of sulfates, free of phthalates, mineral oil, coal tar, hydroquinone, like a whole bunch of things. I don't even know if some of these things would typically be in lip gloss, but they have it listed here for good measure. So it kind of sounds from the description that the main difference between these is that Dior wanted to make these more natural. Dior has been doing this with a lot of their products lately. They just recently did it with their foundations. They're slowly doing this with a lot of their products. And I think the question that I had here is like, okay, cool, you're making this more clean, which is great for some people because there might have been an ingredient in the original version that you don't like, and maybe that was deterring you from purchasing it. But I think the big question for me is, are these different? Like, do they perform differently? Is the formula just as good as the original? Is the formula better? And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. I want to start off with some close-ups of the packaging and how that is different. If you take a look here, the packaging is not that different. In fact, the general component is pretty much the same. The top is the same, the vial is the same. In fact, the biggest difference here is just like the embossing that is on the tube. You'll see that the old version, it says Lip Maximizer Hyaluronic Lip Plumper. So we have more of a label on here, and then there is a Dior embossing on the back, but it's just like not as prevalent. Whereas the new one, I don't know, I guess you could say it's a little bit more like minimalist and chic and sophisticated. I do like the little Dior emblem that they have on there. I think it's very beautiful. It actually matches up really well with the new lip tints that they came out with earlier this year that I reviewed for you guys. So you can kind of see as they're reformulating things, as they're sort of launching new products, the branding is the same. And I would expect, you know, along with the old formula being phased out, we're gonna see that old packaging phased out as well. I also wanna point out, again, I'll show you guys some close-ups, that the applicator is exactly the same. There's really no difference here. Like, the packaging is pretty similar. I also took a look at the amount of product that you get. The amount of product that you get, once again, it's exactly the same. So from a packaging perspective, from an applicator perspective, from an amount of product perspective, you get exactly the same thing. Now, one thing that is not different is the price. You probably heard me mention earlier in this video that these new ones retail for $40. If you take a look at the price of the older Lip Maximizers, those retail for $38. And honestly, friends, I'm not all that surprised. I think sometimes these brands, you know, they're using different ingredients, and sometimes those newer ingredients are more expensive. Sometimes they're not more expensive and they're just trying to increase the price. But we've seen this from pretty much every luxury brand on the market. Everybody's increasing their prices by like $2, $3, $4, so that we're not like up in arms, but we're just a little bit agitated that we have to pay more for it. I've seen them do this with some of their eyeshadow quints earlier in the year. I also wanted to mention, for anybody who's new to these glosses, they also have a slight minty scent to them. Like, they have a very like fresh, effervescent scent, and you definitely feel that when it goes on the lips as well. More on that later. I feel like the scent is pretty much the same between both of the formulas. Maybe the new ones are a little bit more scented, but honestly, it's pretty negligible. I think it's pretty much the same, but I do like to mention that because I know that some of you out there, you don't like the minty scent. If you've ever tried like the Wayne Goss lip glosses, for example, they have a very similar scent to that. So just kind of putting that out there for reference. One of the best parts about this new release is that we are getting new shades. So as I mentioned, if you look on the Dior website, there are only 10 shades of the original formula. If you look at the new formula though, we have double that. We have 20 shades of this lip gloss. That's something that I kind of like about a lot of Dior's newest releases. When we had the refillable shine lipsticks, for example, earlier in the beginning of the year, there were so many shades to pick from. Now, the other thing that we heard in the description of the product, and what becomes very apparent as you're looking at these shades on Sephora, is that these new glosses come in 4 finishes. It's much more organized than what we had before, because if you go on the Dior website, it's like the way they categorize these, it's confusing. Like, you'll have a filter for glittery and it'll just be one, but it's very clear that there's more than one glittery shade, and it's just very confusing. I like the way that they organize this. So I want to review with you guys quickly what those 4 finishes are, because I think that this is going to be very key for you to decide whether or not you want to pick one of these up. There's 20 shades, so there's quite a lot to choose from. So I think that this is going to be a helpful guide. And I'm going to insert some images of the finishes that I talk about as we go. So the first finish is called Holographic. Holographic is going to be that shiny, sparkly, it's just gonna give you that like sparkly glazed donut kind of lip. In fact, they describe this as a multi-dimensional micro glitter. I actually really like this type of finish. I'm gonna show you an example in a sec of one that I have from the original formula. This is not a new finish, and typically what you see from this type of finish is that it's gonna have more of a sheer base. This is gonna be the kind of finish that you might want if you not only want something that plumps up your lips like from the inside chemically, but also just makes your lips look so full and plump because of that multi-dimensional micro glitter. Next up, we have the shimmer finish. So if you're someone that doesn't really like a lot of glitter, but you like a little bit of sparkle, which I totally understand, you don't want something like super holographic, I think you're gonna like this finish. The shimmer finish is just that. It's supposed to be something that is shimmery, a little bit sparkly, a little bit more traditional. And also what I've noticed from a lot of the images on the website is that these glosses have a little bit more of an opaque base compared to the holographic. Next up, we have the classic formula. This is something that isn't super glittery. It's not super shimmery because not everybody likes something that is shimmery, but here you are still getting a relatively sheer base. You're not gonna get a ton of pigmentation from the classic shades. I would think of this more so when you're choosing the shades, choose what type of like undertone you want. So do you want more of like a raspberry tone? Do you want more of a lavender tone to your lips? Do you want more of a nude tone? Because these are lip glosses after all. They're not lipsticks. They're not going to be, at least in this formula, they're not going to be super opaque. So that's kind of what I would think of if you're looking to go for the classic formula. And then the last finish that they have is called Intense. And this is what I haven't really seen from the original formula for the Lip Maximizers. The glosses that have the intense finish, like the one that I'm wearing today, are more pigmented. They are more opaque. If you're somebody that wants more pigment from your lip gloss, almost like a liquid lipstick, but you're still getting that really nice, like moisturizing, glossy lip gloss formula, or maybe you just have a deeper skin tone, or like me, you have more pigmented lips, so when you go in with something that's very sheer, doesn't really show up, that's who is going to really like the intense finish. All right, friends, now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to be doing some swatches and also lip applications of the two original formula glosses that I have, and also the new one that I have. I'm also going to help demonstrate for you guys in my demo the difference between some of these finishes, and I think it's going to make more sense. So the first gloss that I want to show you guys is in the original formula. This is one of the holographic shades. I'm almost positive this was a limited edition one that they launched this summer. I think it was called Bronze Shimmer, something like that. Unfortunately, you can't get this one anymore. But like I said, this is in the holographic formula. And in this application, I not only show you guys in natural light, but also in direct light, so that you can really see the glitter in this formula. I really like the holographic ones. Even though they are really glittery, I don't think that these look super ridiculous. I think that that glitter, it's very fine and very multi-dimensional in a way that really makes your lips look so much fuller. So hopefully these shots in direct sunlight will help you guys realize just like the beautiful sparkle that you get from the holographic shades. I'll also show you guys what this looks like on my hand. Notice how, you know, on my lips are pretty pigmented, so my lips come out pretty rosy, especially because it's got that tingling sensation from the plumping effect. But when you look at it on my hand, this is a pretty sheer gloss. So kind of keep that in mind when you're shopping for the holographic shades. It's really more about the tone of the glitter more than the base, because the base is very sheer. You really don't need to buy like multiples of the holographic shades. Like one, maybe two, if you really like this formula, is usually enough. Next up, I have the shade Mahogany. This is offered in the new formula, but the one that I'm showing you today is in the old formula, and this is in that classic finish. Unfortunately, I don't have one that is a shimmer finish. It's going to be something in between this and what we just saw from the holographic lip swatches. Mahogany is that classic finish. You guys are going to notice that this has a little bit of color. It's not super opaque, but it certainly is more opaque and imparts more of a color than we saw from the holographic bronze. This also doesn't have any shimmer. When you see those direct sunlight swatches, you're going to notice you don't really get that same like multi-dimensional like plumping effect sparkle that you get from the holographic. And when you see the hand swatches as well, it's very clear this kind of color, it is more opaque than the holographic. And lastly, I have my new shade, which is called Intense Brick. This is in that new intense formula. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Comment down below if you've ever seen Dior do a finish that is called Intense, by the way. This is the first time that I am seeing it. You guys are clearly going to see from the application, this is more pigmented. When I first got this, that is the first thing that I noticed, like, wow, this is very much more of a color than I would expect from a typical gloss. It's almost like having a liquid lipstick, but in that really nice, like nourishing classic lip gloss type of form. You guys are also going to see when I swatch this on my hand, not only is it more pigmented, but it's also not as shiny. Like you can clearly see that Mahogany, it is shinier than Intense Brick. So this is kind of what I'm talking about in the sense that there are some shades that are probably more shiny than others, and that's why they are categorized as such on the Sephora website. So I just want to show you kind of the differences between them. I don't think this is less shiny because of the new formula. I think it's just because this particular shade, Intense Brick, is formulated to be so. One last thing I want to show you guys, because I feel like I'm going to be getting some questions about what is the difference between these Dior Lip Maximizers versus the Dior lip tints that launched earlier this year. I want to show you guys a quick comparison up against this new gloss that I got, Intense Brick, up against Natural Tea from the lip tints. This is after maybe like a minute or so, once the lip tint has been able to dry down just a little bit. You guys are gonna see, while the Dior lip tints, they have kind of like that nice glossy finish to them, they're not anywhere near as glossy as the Dior Lip Maximizers. The Dior Lip Maximizers, they feel like a gloss. They're not sticky, but they have that glossy feel, whereas the lip tints, these feel, they're kind of like more like a slippy lipstick, and then they sort of dry down. And I'll also show you guys a shot here. After I wiped these off, clearly the lip tint, it left a tint on my hand. So these also tint your lips, obviously. Maybe it goes without saying, but I like to show you guys that comparison anyway. All right, friends, now it's time for my final thoughts and my analysis on these new lip maximizers from Dior. What's my conclusion? So let's start off with like the formulation and how this feels on the lips. I think that it feels very similar, pretty much exact to the original formula. So whatever Dior did here, reformulating these, they didn't make them any better or any worse, to be honest with you. These still have a really nice, like luxurious lip gloss feeling to the lips. It's not so thin that it wears away. It's not so thick that it's like super sticky and tacky. I would also say, I think that the plumping effect and the sensation is the same. It lasts for about 30 to 40 minutes. I did time it. It doesn't really burn. It's more of just like a little tingling effect. If you don't mind like a fresh tingling, almost minty sensation, almost like you just used mouthwash, if you like use a little bit of Listerine and you can kind of still feel it on your lips, but it's a prolonged sensation for 30 to 40 minutes, then I think you are fine. But I think that it's pretty much the same. I can't really tell the difference between them. I honestly can't. Maybe the old ones, maybe they tingle just a little bit more. And I don't know if it's because they went to like, you know, more natural ingredients that these tingle less, but I honestly feel like it's the same. Both of these have hyaluronic acid, which is like essentially the main ingredient, the main plumping ingredient that they have from a marketing perspective. So they still have the same main ingredient in there that is being touted. It seems like the biggest differences between these are, number one, the packaging, although it's not that big of a difference as I showed you guys. Also, the shade selection. I think the shade selection is a big one. We're just getting more shades. As far as I know, these are permanent. So I think that's great. I think a lot of people like these glosses, and being able to have more shades is great. Also, the finishes. So being able to have just like a more organized selection of what kind of finish you would prefer, because I really like the super duper sparkly holographic ones, or I like the more intense ones. And if you were somebody that wanted something more pigmented, I think the addition of that intense finish is very much welcome. We also have the price, which I think is obvious. It's $2 more. And lastly, you're getting a more clean formula. But the purpose of this video is more so to kind of let you guys know, as far as application, as far as the finish, the sensation, all of that, if they're the same. I think it's really up to you whether or not it matters to you, if you want your lip gloss to be more clean, or if you are happy with the omission of some of the ingredients, it's a little bit more natural. So I think that's great. I think I'm happy that these glosses aren't bad or aren't worse after they've made this change. So yeah, friends, my conclusion is that these are really not all that different. They're pretty much the same in many different aspects. I like to show you guys all these comparisons in the application so you can decide if this is gonna be right for you. These are $40 though. So if you already have some of these shades, if you already have some of the original formula, I don't really think you need to go running out and buying these just because Dior has something new. I think you should take a look at the shades. If you see a shade that you were not able to get before and you really like this formula, then it's worth it. But I would just pick up one to start. Pick up one so you can see if you like the new formula, see if you agree with me. Because a lot of the shades, once they get on the lips, they look pretty similar. You do not need like 3 holographic shades in these Dior Lip Maximizers. Let's pump the brakes because I know we get excited about new Dior releases. My recommendation would be, if you're going to buy any of them, I actually think picking up one of the new intense finishes is probably your best bet, because you probably don't have one of these finishes from the original formula, and it's going to show up on your lips more. If you already have, just like me, one of the holographic ones in the original formula, I don't really need to pick up one of the new holographic ones. If I really want to get bang for my buck, I'm going to be picking up one of the new intense shades because it just imparts like a more vivid color. Anyway, friends, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully this video was helpful. I just wanted to do a little comparison because, as you guys know, I love Dior. I love to cover all their new products on my channel as much as I can, and I know a lot of you guys are interested in this new release. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate that. I'm going to be linking anywhere you can get these in the description box down below. As I mentioned, these are going to be available at Sephora, and while I don't see them on the site right now, I would expect them to be on the Dior global website, so keep a lookout for that. I will have all those details in the description box down below. Also, please sound off in those comments down below and let me know what you think of these glosses. Are they a favorite of yours? Do you think you're going to be picking up some of the new ones? Because I know a lot of you are Dior fanatics and you're excited for these glosses, so please sound off in those comments down below to let me know all your thoughts so we can have a little discussion. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and with that, friends, I hope that you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.